Super J and Mad Mike, welcome you guys to another kick-ass video on our WrestleCade YouTube channel. And we're just showing you another era of professional wrestling, this time the WWF from the years 1990 through 1993. The late Hulk Hogan era, and I call it the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior era, the early 90s in the WWF. But Senior Manuel's going to go ahead and tell you guys what's going on in the shelf and the era, so... Yes, thank you, Super J. One of my favorite eras of professional wrestling would have to be the early 1990s in professional wrestling in the WWF. You had late greats like the young Undertaker and the great big Sid Justice. You had Jake the Snake Roberts, along with his snakes. He used to come out and hit guys with his DDT and knock them out. You had the HBK Shawn Michaels when he was just a young man, after he broke away from the Rockers and threw Marty Jannetty through a barbershop window. And you have Kamala, the Ugandan warrior, who used to always pat his belly like some madman. He had a casket match against The Undertaker at SummerSlam 1992. Even some guys like Tugboat. He was this guy that came out and looked like a giant, big, 7-foot, 400-pound lifeguard. You had Macho Man and Randy Savage with the Ultimate Warrior. They're the Ultimate Maniacs tag team. They beat Nani Incorporated back in 1992 on a Saturday night's main event. But you even have Hacksaw Jim Duggan with his red, white, and blue American flag. 2x4 in hand. He was ho Hacksaw. Even one of my favorites, Lex Luger, but he came out as the narcissist when he debuted in WWE and WWF back in the early 1993. He came out as a narcissist with these mirrors and flexing like some big giant madman bodybuilder. And eventually, just after a few months, they put him in the red, white, and blue, the Lex Express, which crashed at SummerSlam 1993 at the Palace of Auburn Hills, and it died out. You even had the Macho King Randy Savage. After he was a good guy and he was kicking ass, he turned bad guy, and he got rid of Miss Elizabeth, his wife of many years, and he went with Sensational Sherry, this crazy black-haired woman. You even had the Big Boss Man with nightstick in hand, with the blue prison guard outfit, man. He was my favorite back then. He had this Hard Times theme song that just kicked ass, and it was Hard Times. You even had the Macho Man Randy Savage in his WrestleMania 8 attire, where he defeated Ric Flair for the WWF title. And there's Money Incorporated, Ted DiBiase and IRS, Erwin R. Shyster. They were tag team champions in the WWF. You had the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He had actually left NWA back in the early 1990s and went to try Vince's wrestling out. And Vince put him with this giant polka dot outfit on. And he looked kind of ridiculous, but he was still a dream. He used to hit people with this bionic elbow and just bam, he would just knock them out. You had the real world champion, Ric Flair. He came to the WWF and he had the WCW world title along with him. And he said that was the real world title, and they blurred it out and you couldn't see it on television. It was quite funny. But eventually Ric Flair won the title at Royal Rumble 1992, and he got rid of this shit title. And long story short, Ric Flair ended up losing the real title and going back to WCW. But you have the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. Hulk rules, the yellow and red. You even have the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. They were these crazy nasty boys. They came from WCW too, and they came to WWF. They became tag team champions at WrestleMania 7, defeating the Hart Foundation. They were also managed by Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. They were just stupid idiots. They used to have this armpit. They used to call it the pit stop. And they used to put other guys' faces in their armpits. It was quite gross. But you even have Jimmy Hart's stable over here, when he managed Earthquake, the giant Earthquake. He used to beat the shit out of Hulk Hogan and other good guys. And he was just giant monster that was balding. But you even have the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all times, the Honky Tonk Man. He was Intercontinental Champion for like 2 years or something like that. It was unfreaking believable. I always liked him because he came out like Elvis with his guitar. And I always thought, wow, I would like to have a guitar. And then Ravishing Rick Rude, he was this badass ladies man. I used to come out and he used to hit on all the ladies. And he had this cool, like, mustache. And, like, who else could grow that mustache like that sported? He even had this cool mullet as well. But he always came up with these badass robes that were awesome. And then you have the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. He would manage a lot of guys. And he used to hit people with his megaphone. And he used to come out with these weird glasses, and he looked like some little silly man. But his guys used to win. They were always bad guys, and they used to win. But last, we have to go to the American G.I. Joe, Sergeant Slaughter. He was like one of the coolest guys, man. And he beat the Ultimate Warrior at the Royal Rumble 1991, and then lost the title to Hulk Hogan. But Sergeant Slaughter, he was like this American G.I. Joe, and he always dressed up like my fellow police officers down in Mexico City. They always look like these badass commandos. Yes. Like I know this one man, he was the Central American Hulk Hogan. And his name was Cesar Chavez Camacho. And he was like the Mexican Sergeant Slaughter. But then you had the Ultimate Warrior, man. He used to come out, he used to go crazy on the ropes, man. He was a madman. He even had his chest painted sometimes in these weird Ultimate Warrior logos. And he used to always paint his face. And he always came out with these weird world titles. Whenever he won the Intercontinental title, he changed the color. Whenever he won the world title, he changed the colors. But then you'd go to WWF era, 1990 through 1993, the end of the Hulk Hogan era in the WWF. It was the changing of the guard from the new to the young. It was a great time in professional wrestling to see wrestling. But Super J and Mad Mike, they thank you for watching the channel. They thank you. They want you to like and to comment and to tell us what you think. I'm trying to come aboard to the Wrestle Cave. Senor Manuel is out of here. Subscribe. See, Senor, subscribe.